Graceland, the estate of legendary singer Elvis Presley, is facing a legal battle now over a potential foreclosure.
For nearly 50 years, Graceland has stood as a revered tribute to Elvis Presley, the undisputed king of rock and roll. Millions of fans have walked through its halls, admired his sparkling jumpsuits, and paid their respects at his grave. Yet, one part of the estate remained a mystery, an area untouched since the day Elvis died. Now, after 48 years, the hidden attic at Graceland has finally been opened. This long-locked space raises many questions. Why was it sealed for so long? What secrets or surprises were kept inside? The truth behind its closure is finally coming to light. To understand why this room remained frozen in time for nearly half a century, we must revisit the final chapter of Elvis's life. What or who kept this attic sealed? Was it simply a forgotten storage space, or was it intentionally hidden to protect the king's last secrets? Unlocking this mystery begins with examining the end of his life. When Elvis Presley died on August 16, 1977, it felt as though silence fell over Graceland. The estate didn't just become his final resting place, it became a vault holding his secrets. Just days after his passing, certain parts of the mansion were closed off, including one area that especially intrigued people, the attic. Elvis died in Memphis, Tennessee, at the age of 42. Though he remained a legend in the public eye, privately he was struggling. While fans mourned outside Graceland, doctors suggested his death was caused by a heart attack, potentially brought on by years of prescription drug use, particularly barbiturates. By the mid-1970s, Elvis's health had significantly declined. He had divorced Priscilla in 1973 and had developed a serious dependence on prescription medications. Junk food was another vice, and it contributed to his rapid weight gain. He began withdrawing from public life. Toward the end, his live performances became erratic. Instead of living like a superstar, he became increasingly reclusive. On the afternoon of August 16, Elvis was found unconscious in the bathroom at Graceland. Though rushed to the hospital, it was too late, he had passed away. Eric Muirhead, the hospital's chief of pathology, led the autopsy with a team of 9 medical experts. While they suspected long-term medication use, they needed toxicology tests for confirmation. That evening at 8 p.m., medical examiner Dr. Jerry Francisco, who hadn't been part of the autopsy team, publicly declared the cause of death as cardiac arrhythmia, or sudden heart failure. He also insisted medication played no role, which surprised the doctors involved in the autopsy. Initially, the public accepted this explanation. But when the toxicology report emerged, it told a different story. It revealed that Elvis's system was loaded with dangerous levels of drugs, including Dilaudid, Quaalude, Percodan, Demerol, and codeine. These revelations sparked intense scrutiny and a deeper investigation. The Tennessee Board of Health soon launched an official inquiry into Elvis's death. During a series of hearings, it was revealed that Dr. George Nichopoulos, Elvis's longtime physician, often called Dr. Nick, had prescribed over 8,000 doses of medication to him between 1975 and 1977. Even more concerning was that the rate of prescriptions had steadily increased. Dr. Nick admitted to writing all those prescriptions but insisted his intent was never to harm Elvis. He claimed that Elvis was so dependent on painkillers that the only way to keep him from turning to dangerous street drugs was to manage his access through legal channels. The jury accepted his explanation and cleared him of responsibility in Elvis's death. However, by 1980, Dr. Nick was again under fire, this time charged with overprescribing medications to Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis. In 1995, the Tennessee Board of Medical Examiners permanently revoked his license due to a history of excessive prescribing. Despite all of this, the theory that Elvis died from a drug overdose remains just one possible explanation. In a 2025 interview with The Mirror, author Salia Hodel challenged this idea. She had written the 2020 book Destined to Die Young, which argued that Elvis suffered from a serious heart condition, not drug abuse. Hodel believed that many of the behaviors people viewed as self-destructive were, in reality, Elvis's desperate attempts to manage chronic pain and illness using the only tools available to him, medication. Whatever the true cause, the shock of his death left the world in mourning. On August 17, just a day after his death, Graceland opened its gates for fans to say goodbye. Massive crowds arrived early and grew throughout the day. By nightfall, an estimated 100,000 people had gathered outside the mansion. The next day, Elvis was laid to rest. A grand funeral procession left Graceland, led by 17 white Cadillacs and a hearse carrying Elvis's casket. Among the mourners were his ex-wife Priscilla, his daughter Lisa Marie, his father Vernon, and his grandmother Minnie Mae. Friends and celebrities also came to pay their respects: Chet Atkins, Anne Margaret, Caroline Kennedy, James Brown, Sammy Davis Jr., and Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's longtime manager. He was buried in a mausoleum next to his mother, whom he deeply adored. After the funeral, the Presley estate remained silent about what was stored in the attic. That silence only fueled more speculation. Rumors swirled. Some believed the attic contained unreleased music or private letters from secret lovers. Others thought it held evidence that might clarify, or complicate, the mysteries surrounding his death. Ongoing legal battles over the estate added even more confusion. The attic could have contained anything: a priceless family treasure or something the Presley family didn't want exposed to the world. As the door finally opened after all these years, the air was heavy with anticipation. Graceland, the King's Castle. Elvis Presley's iconic mansion in Memphis has always been wrapped in mystery and awe. It's far more than just a home, it's a symbol of his life, his fame, and the secrets he left behind. So, what makes Graceland so special? To find out, we need to go back in time. In 1957, Elvis was already a global sensation at the age of 22. Wanting a retreat from the madness of fame, he purchased the Graceland estate on March 19 for $102,500, a massive sum at the time, worth over $900,000 today. Interestingly, Elvis didn't name the property; Graceland was its name before he bought it. The estate became his personal sanctuary, complete with barns, horses, and even a mischievous pet chimpanzee named Scatter. Elvis often dressed Scatter in costumes and pulled pranks by ducking down while driving, making it look like the chimp was behind the wheel. But eventually, Scatter's antics became too wild to handle. Elvis had to keep him in a climate-controlled room on the property. One of the most peaceful places at Graceland was something Elvis created himself: the meditation garden. Built in 1964, it was a quiet space surrounded by flowers, fountains, and white columns. Elvis loved to sit there and reflect. After he passed away, it became even more significant: it became his final resting place. Initially, Elvis was buried at Forest Hill Cemetery in Memphis, right next to his beloved mother, Gladys. But just 2 days after the funeral, an attempt was made to steal his copper-plated, steel-lined, 900-pound coffin as part of a ransom plot. 3 men were caught and arrested, though they were only charged with trespassing. Still, the incident was enough to spark concern. Not long after, both Elvis and Gladys were moved to Graceland, where they rest to this day. The second floor of Graceland served as Elvis's private retreat. That's where his bedroom and personal bathroom were located, spaces only a small circle of trusted people were ever allowed to enter. Sadly, it was also in that very bathroom where Elvis was found unresponsive on August 16, 1977. When Graceland opened to the public in 1982, the lower level became a museum, but the upstairs remained sealed. Out of respect for the family and to prevent it from becoming a grim tourist attraction, the Presley family chose to keep it off limits. No official photos were ever released, not even world leaders or U.S. presidents were given access. Adding to the intrigue, Graceland recently became the focus of a legal battle. A company called Nosany Investments and Private Lending LLC tried to sell the estate, claiming that Elvis's granddaughter, Riley Keough, had defaulted on a loan. Riley, who now serves as the trustee of the Promenade Trust that owns Graceland, called the whole thing a hoax and filed a legal complaint, labeling the attempted sale as fraudulent. Just in time, the case reached the courts. On May 22, 2024, 1 day before the auction was set to take place, a judge stepped in and blocked it. The court clearly stated that under Tennessee law, Graceland is unique, and its loss would bring irreparable harm. Neither Riley nor representatives from the company appeared in court, but the ruling left no doubt: Graceland was not going anywhere. Now, with the attic finally opened, what lies inside could reshape everything we thought we knew. For nearly 5 decades, the attic at Graceland remained completely untouched, a sealed time capsule from the day Elvis died. But that changed in 2025, when archivists opened the door. What they found inside offered fans a completely new glimpse into the real man behind the myth. Before that groundbreaking moment, there was the memorable 2006 Graceland tour. Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King joined Lisa Marie Presley for a personal walkthrough of the family home. During their visit, Lisa Marie guided them through the entire house, showing off everything from the living room, still styled exactly as Elvis had it in 1957, to some of the estate's more hidden spaces. Angie Marchese, Graceland's director of archives, referred to the basement as the mansion's fun rooms, and with good reason. They visited the pool room, which Lisa humorously called the Mayhem Room. Then came the famous Jungle Room, a lush, tropically themed space covered in green carpet and filled with exotic furniture, one of Elvis's favorite places to hang out. But the biggest revelations came in the annex. This special section of Graceland houses deeply personal family items: Elvis and Priscilla's wedding attire, Lisa Marie's crib, and some of her childhood toys. There was also a top-secret area behind a door labeled "Employees Only." The room was so private, Oprah's camera crew had to stop filming before they could go in. "This room is earthquake-proof, fire-proof, and tornado-proof," Oprah explained in the special. "And most of what's in here has never been shown to the public." Then came the attic reveal of 2025. When the archivists finally stepped inside, they discovered boxes packed with rare memorabilia, much of it unknown even to Elvis's most devoted fans. There were personal letters, never-before-seen photographs, stage outfits, and even a few childhood toys. One of the most astonishing finds was Elvis's handwritten notes, some filled with lyrics, others simply thoughts and doodles offering a window into his mind. They also found early concert posters, unreleased recordings, and personal items from Elvis's career that had been hidden for decades. Among the treasures were love letters from Priscilla, old family photos, and scraps of paper with handwritten lyrics. These items weren't meant for public view, but now they revealed a tender, deeply personal side of Elvis, a man who loved fiercely, felt deeply, and lived passionately far beyond the spotlight. In terms of fashion, the attic turned out to be a vault of vintage Elvis attire. Some stage outfits had never been shown to the public before. One particularly eye-catching piece was a gold lame jumpsuit embroidered with Egyptian symbols, likely designed for a 1977 tour that never happened. There were also more casual finds, like a worn leather jacket with a handwritten note pinned to it that read, "Wear this when you need to disappear." The surprises kept coming. Archivists found a box filled with reel-to-reel tapes, some marked practice sessions, 1976. These tapes held private recordings of Elvis experimenting with gospel, blues, and even early synthesizer sounds. One especially moving track was a raw, stripped-down version of Unchained Melody, performed with just his voice, recorded just months before he died. It was a haunting glimpse into the heart of an artist still exploring and creating, even in his final days. Among the personal treasures were dusty boxes full of unopened fan mail, small tokens, and even a few uncashed royalty checks. Some letters came from soldiers stationed overseas, others from grieving parents, and some from aspiring musicians hoping for a word of encouragement. One letter stood out, a petition from 1976, signed by fans begging Elvis to cancel a tour for the sake of his health. It showed that fans noticed. They saw how much the demands of his career were affecting him. There were also simple items from his early life, childhood keepsakes that painted a softer portrait of the boy before the fame. A worn teddy bear from Tupelo, his high school yearbook covered in signatures, and a Bible gifted by his mother, Gladys. These weren't display pieces, they were things he'd kept close, things that clearly meant a lot to him. Together, all of these artifacts offered a clearer, more intimate picture of who Elvis Presley really was. Lisa Marie Presley once spoke about her time in that secret room. "It's The public often imagined a version of Elvis that didn't truly match the real man behind the fame. He became trapped in the role people expected, the hip-swinging, lip-curling rebel of the 1950s. When he began to change, many fans didn't understand it. Some even disapproved. But the reality is that Elvis never stopped evolving. Elvis first experienced performing at age 10 when he entered a singing competition at the Mississippi, Alabama Fair and Dairy Show. He performed Old Shep, a sorrowful ballad about a boy and his dog, and proudly remembered placing 5th. Shortly afterward, he received his first guitar as a birthday gift. Though he didn't take formal lessons, he learned a few chords from his uncles and a pastor at his church. "I took the guitar," he said, "and I watched people, and I learned to play a little bit. But I would never sing in public. I was very shy about it." By the time he was a junior in high school, Elvis was attracting attention not just for his music, but for his distinctive style. He grew out his sideburns and admired the flashy clothing in the window displays of Lansky Brothers, a store on Beale Street, the heart of Memphis's blues scene. By senior year, he wasn't just admiring the clothes, he was wearing them. Elvis's music career took off in 1954 when he began recording at Sun Records with producer Sam Phillips. With Elvis on guitar, joined by lead guitarist Scotty Moore and bassist Bill Black, they created a fresh sound, rockabilly. It had an upbeat rhythm and fused country with rhythm and blues. In 1955, drummer DJ Fontana joined the group, completing what would become the classic Elvis Band. That same year, RCA Victor purchased Elvis's contract in a deal arranged by Colonel Tom Parker, who would go on to manage him for life. A major milestone came in January 1956, when Elvis released his first RCA single, Heartbreak Hotel, which skyrocketed to #1 in the U.S. Within a year, RCA had sold 10 million of his singles. Between hit songs and iconic TV appearances, Elvis quickly became the symbol of rock and roll. In November 1956, Elvis debuted on the big screen in Love Me Tender. Just as his popularity soared, he was drafted into the U.S. Army in 1958. On March 24, he reported to Fort Chaffee in Arkansas, where he was greeted by a crowd of fans and reporters. He insisted on being treated like any other soldier. From March to September 1958, Elvis went through basic and advanced training at Fort Hood in Texas. During a break in June, he recorded 5 songs in Nashville. In October, he was deployed to West Germany, where he served in the 3rd Armored Division as an armor intelligence specialist. He earned several promotions and reached the rank of sergeant by early 1960. He donated his military pay to charity, purchased televisions for the base, and even provided matching uniforms for his unit. After returning from military service, Elvis resumed his career. Under Colonel Parker's direction, he spent most of the 1960s starring in movies and recording soundtracks. While many of the films were criticized, a few stood out as fan favorites, including Jailhouse Rock, 1957, Blue Hawaii, 1961, and Viva Las Vegas, 1964. By Christmas 1966, Elvis proposed to Priscilla Beaulieu after more than 7 years of dating. The couple married on May 1, 1967, in a quiet Las Vegas ceremony at the Aladdin Hotel. A major life change followed, the birth of his only daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, on February 1, 1968. At the time, Elvis felt disillusioned in his career. However, that same year, he made a powerful return to fame. His 1968 NBC TV special, simply titled Elvis, reignited his stardom and reminded fans of his talent. The show was a huge hit, capturing 42% of the TV audience. John Landau of iMagazine wrote, "There is something magical about watching a man who has lost himself find his way back home." He sang with the kind of power people no longer expect of rock and roll singers. He moved his body with a lack of pretension and effort that must have made Jim Morrison green with envy. The success of the special led to more live performances. Elvis began a residency in Las Vegas and went on several profitable tours. In 1973, he made history with Aloha from Hawaii, the first solo concert broadcast live to a global audience. By 2005, Forbes ranked Elvis the highest-earning deceased celebrity for 5 consecutive years, generating an impressive $45 million. He dropped to second place in 2006, reclaimed the top spot in 2007 and 2008, and fell to fourth in 2009. Then, in 2010, Elvis had a huge financial comeback, earning $60 million posthumously, his biggest year yet. As of mid-2011, there were around 15,000 licensed Elvis products. He returned to second place on the list of top-earning deceased celebrities. By 2017, he placed fourth again, bringing in $35 million, $8 million more than the year before. This rise was fueled by 2 new Memphis attractions, the Elvis Presley's Memphis Entertainment Complex and the Guest House at Graceland, a luxury hotel. In terms of record sales, Elvis still reigns supreme. He remains one of the best-selling artists ever, with an estimated 500 million records sold worldwide. He conquered pop, country, rock and roll, rockabilly, rhythm and blues, gospel, and adult contemporary. He earned 3 Grammy Awards and received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award at just 36. He was later inducted into multiple music halls of fame. His accolades are unmatched: the most gold and platinum albums certified by the RIAA, the highest number of charted albums on the Billboard 200, the most #1 solo albums on the UK Albums Chart, and the most #1 singles in UK chart history. In 2018, the U.S. government honored him posthumously with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, one of the highest civilian awards. Elvis's legacy wasn't just built on his success, it was shaped by his imperfections, too. As critic Greil Marcus noted, he was a true cultural phenomenon. He could be dramatic, gentle, excessive, soulful, silly, captivating, generous, and, at times, even dull. Since Elvis's death, the world has struggled to let go. For some, it marked the end of an era. For others, it sparked one of pop culture's strangest and most enduring conspiracy theories, that Elvis never actually died. The rumors began almost instantly. Just a day after his passing, someone claimed to have seen a man resembling him at the Memphis International Airport. Bob Joyce. The problem with this is Joyce is much younger than Elvis would be today. And the resemblance is more wishful thinking than reality. Still, people want to believe. It's clear the world never really got over losing him. And now, with the recent discovery of what he kept hidden in his Graceland apartment for nearly 50 years, it feels like an old wound has been ripped open for some. For others, though, it brings a strange sense of comfort. Were you surprised about what was found in Elvis Presley attics? How will this new discovery change the way we see the king of rock and roll? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. If you found this story fascinating, click on the next video on your screen. Thanks for watching.